Aloha and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Got Your Six podcast. This six-question podcast brings together high performers to share their methods, strategies, and ideas, delivered in an informative and, most importantly, actionable way that'll help you lead yourself and those around you from the battlefield to the boardroom. Coming to you every episode, I'm your host, Tony Nash. And into the breach.
Nothing mentioned on this podcast is an endorsement or opinion of the Department of Defense.
I got your six, we got your back. Got your six, we got your back. Got your six, we got your back. I got your six.
Sixers, this is another unbelievable treat. I know you're listening to our audio, but you might want to look in the skies for this one because our guest is coming in hot. Brett Kroll, co-founder, vice president. I mean, you just have so many different titles there, but over at Brotallion. Brett, thank you so much for being here on the Got Your Six podcast today, brother.
Yeah, really appreciate it. It's an honor to be here, listen to some of the previous episodes and the other guests you have on. Really excited. It's crazy. Like I was talking to Spencer the other day, finally getting onto some podcasts, other than our own. So it's really exciting to kind of see it. And yeah, cannot thank you enough for having us on.
Absolutely. Appreciate you being comfortable enough to step on the other side of the microphone for this one.
Yeah, I'll try not to slur my words too much here, but it may happen.
We're only here to get better. You know what I'm saying? One thing I find particularly fascinating, my man, is how you live by the 4 Fs, right? Friendship, freedom, flight, and fitness. How did you kind of take those 4 pillars and say, hey, this is what I stand for, this is what I'm about? Where did that come from?
Yeah, so kind of, where we all started, maybe about 8 guys that really loved kind of the same thing. We were all really good friends out at Fort Lewis, our first duty station, and hanging out and having a good time. Kind of the work hard, play hard attitude was really important to us. So that's kind of our friendship. Freedom, obviously, we're all doing the same thing, working for Uncle Sam, flying for the flag. So that's a given. Flight. That's why we all were there, was to be pilots, be aviators, be the best we can. All right, so flight. The reason we all kind of linked up at Fort Lewis is because it was our first duty station as pilots. That's all of our passion. No one goes through flight school kind of lackadaisical. Most people that are there, it's been their passion for their life, to go fly. Ever since I was a little kid, that's what I wanted to do. And if you ask most aviators, because of the commitment involved, I would say most have always wanted to do it, unless they're really gifted and they just were like, hey, it seemed cool. But most people always wanted to do it their whole lives. So, obviously very important for us. And fitness. It's kind of what has got us through the hard times, all of us, I would say. Especially for those that went to a service academy. I know that was something that I leaned on heavily through those Saturdays where you're locked in, kind of go take out all your energy in the gym. So, and that's something we all bonded with after work on the weekends. We kind of start the day off with a good solid lift or, some type of fitness event. So all those 4 things kind of brought us all together, enabled us to really develop a deep friendship. Which kind of spawned, the word Brotallion, because we were all in the same battalion, and all of our leadership kind of saw it and saw we were kind of doing, the Friendship, Freedom, Flight, Fitness, all hanging out, having a good time, cracking jokes in the QTB or whatever. So they kind of just started calling us the Brotallion, and we kind of ran with it, and, the rest is history, I guess.
So now you kind of fast forward a little bit, and you're still doing kind of dual hatting, right? We could say, one could argue many hats that you wear, but as you look to implement something daily from that, when you first kind of solidified who Brett was, in the Brotallion, in this kind of lifestyle, what is something you constantly kind of take away and you're like, hey, I can't be me without doing this every day?
Probably the fitness side. That's something that, he asked my wife, is something that I really can't get through the day without taking at least 30 minutes or something to go hit my garage and do something out there, or we kind of alluded to it being, an outlet. I didn't have the greatest time at the military academy as far as, just quality of life. Personally, it's different for every person, as you know, and we all deal with it in our own ways. And the way that I did was through the gym, and always been an athletic person, played multiple sports, and that kind of really was my outlet. Your time to kind of decompress and not think about anything else. Something's a passion when you're doing it, and that's all you're thinking about doing. So that's kind of what I did. It was my escape, and that's something that I do every day. We get distracted here and there, and it's hard, especially this day and age, to kind of stay focused. But typically when I'm in the gym, I'm really able to zero in and kind of, I'm Catholic, but it's my other religion, I guess. It's the other way to kind of, meditate, in my own way. But it's something that I do every day. In the military instills it. It was something I was kind of into before, but definitely a sustain and something that will always be doing.
Now you said it helps you kind of like, it's a form of meditation, form of like, cleansing of the, mind, body, spirit thing. As you look at it, how have you do you walk away sometimes feeling not only just more energized, but just ready to contribute to both what you're doing with Brotallion and your other lines of work? Or where do you kind of like get these sources of inspiration to continue to grow this thing? I mean, massively.
Yeah. So, it kind of started as just dealing with the competition and constant stress at school, and, taking a break from all that every day. And now it's kind of just, it is also a place to kind of spawn ideas and think about things and brainstorm different ideas. A lot of times I'll come out of the gym with a new shirt design, or, coming up with different ways to interact with people, our designers and things like that, and different content to push. So at Brotallion, I'm the main content creator. So I manage all the social media platforms. I take all the user submissions. All of our social media is from different, people throughout Army aviation, and really all the big branches of aviation. So I'm the one usually spinning that up and spitting it out. So a lot of my inspiration comes from my time in the gym and just kind of throwing weight around and thinking about things. So yeah, I mean, I use it for a lot of different things. I'll use it if, I'm having a rough day, a place to kind of rebalance the emotions, and I ideally, I don't know if it's because of the military, I like to do it in the morning if I can. A lot of times it doesn't work out. I commute quite a bit to work, so I like to sleep too. Sleep's really important. But if ideally I would do it every morning to kind of start my day. I feel like I'm in a better mood typically if I get a workout in, especially early. It is the best, it is one of the best parts of my day, other than coming home and seeing my kids and wife. I mean, that's one of the best parts of my day. So I like to hit the ground running every day if I could.
Now, we talked about like kind of what gives you energy and where you find sources of inspiration, but how do you maintain and foster a community, right? Especially with Brotallion and the Army aviation community being so tight knit. Like, I know it took a while to get to like some momentum, but like what was sources of inspiration to kind of not only get the community started, which we talked about, but what kept it going, enduring? Right.
Yeah. So one of the things we like to, hope to think we do is kind of create or, solve problems and issues that we've seen in the community. When we started off, we look at a lot of other branches and kind of see all the morale that they have, different, whether it's a one-piece flight suit or getting to wear certain colors underneath their flight suits or morale patches or whatever it is. In the Army aviation, we kind of saw a lull in the bravado and that, aviator presence that you kind of see when you watch Top Gun, or not to say we're Navy and Top Gun and all that, but, that is a lot of the inspiration of our companies, kind of bring back Army aviation to that golden era where, you're a professional, you're the best at what you do, but you like to have a good time. You don't take yourself too seriously. So, a lot of our why is comes from that and the ideas of that. I'm losing my train of thought. Could you repeat your question again?
No worries. So, as you focus on that golden era of Army aviation, how are you constantly sourcing that and remaining on that mission, like to continue to keep the community moving forward?
Right. It is to keep kind of sticking with our roots. I mean, that's one thing that's hard, especially as you grow as a company, is to not kind of sell out. We've seen other companies, I'm not going to name names on here, but kind of go with the current political trend or go with whatever they need to kind of sell T-shirts. And, if you look at a lot of our T-shirts, the common person that's not aviation probably won't understand it. So we really try to cater to them, kind of see what's missing. And the way that I do that is through constant engagement. Every message that's sent, every DM that's sent, no matter the platform, I'm responding to it personally. So it gets kind of to be a bear, but it's really important for the success of our company because it helps me understand where the community's at, where the culture's at, and where the morale sits for Army aviation. So, anything that's going on, whether it's an incident, whether it's drama, whether it's, the newest thing, the newest kind of TTP, what units are doing out there, what units want to see, maybe for their unit apparel or different things like that. I'm trying to keep my eye on it and provide, like I said, provide a solution to an issue. We've created a few different products. One thing that we've kind of realized is to kind of stick with what we're good at because it's easy to get squirreled into different avenues and we want to see so many things. And we've made a few things like our pilot's clipboard. We've done some knowledge management stuff as far as our note cards for emergency procedures and things like that. But what we're really trying to do is hone in on the process of our apparel as far as the business end of things. And one thing that was really a huge issue for Spencer and I as we were platoon leaders was getting good apparel that didn't take a ton of time out of our day. And that's kind of what our model does is, take the time out of the platoon leader, the commander, or the platoon sergeant, and let us kind of handle it all for them and make it easy access. Everyone can get to it at any time, and it's there forever. So, but at the end of the day, as far as a community manager, I'm doing as much as I can to interact with the community, constantly asking questions, and like I said, really stick true to who we are and where we came from. If you look at any of my posts, it's all, all of it, other than some stories. It's all user driven. We've messed around with ad stuff in the past and ad spend and things like that, but really kind of realized that for our community, it's not the best way to interact. And when you do that, it just kind of seems like you're pushing too hard. A lot of times you'll see companies out there, similar type companies at us that just try to come up with a t-shirt and sell it. But there's so much more to a brand and a community, and it needs to start with not the product. It needs to start with the community and the purpose and the why and the brand story and what the brand does. Providing apparel for aviators by aviators is what we like to say, but what we're really about is being that community voice, and creating solutions for the Army aviation community, whether it's through Blue Skies, through the apparel, or the podcast, the knowledge management, the mentorship type stuff. Just listening. Now we're kind of getting into the fitness space a little bit more with Lance, our fitness ambassador and planner. So more things to come for that, but really just engage the community and instill that aviation presence and swagger that was the passion, the reason why we all joined.
And at this point too, you've been able to enter the community at many different points, right? Not only just I almost said kids, but the junior officers, NCOs, warrant officers coming up in the aviation community, just coming out of flight school, and now you also have like senior leaders who are now like, hey, this is what we want to do to kind of rally around. These are the shirts. This is the apparel because it's for us, by us. Would you say growing that community at scale is probably your hardest challenge right now, or is there something else that really is kind of like your challenge as you see going forward into the future with Brotallion?
Yeah, that the scale issue is something that Spencer and I are, really working on. What we're trying to do for that is kind of start to reach into the other branches. We have a couple ambassadors on our team. We have a Marine Corps, Navy, Air Force, a couple of them. So we're really trying to expand and bring on one of those guys full time to start to understand the other communities. Because if we're going to dive into those communities, we need someone on the front line, part of our team that can be the not just a part-time ambassador, but someone that's almost equal to us, so we understand that culture. Because I can't just start making a t-shirt. You want to understand everything behind how these guys and gals think, to connect with them. So another way too is working more with there's a couple other two other organizations like-minded to the Blue Skies Foundation. I believe it's the Wingman Foundation and the Fallen, I forget, one's Air Force and one's Army. So working with them on certain projects. We were looking at doing an NFT project where we donate, per sale to the 3 different entities there. We may hold off on that based on where crypto and everything's going right now. So, but yeah, that the scale issue, it's almost like you kind of look at Instagram, you kind of look at some of the platforms, and it seems like you kind of peak out at a certain point. Now, a lot of that is probably because we're not paying into the system, and I refuse to pay into it. But the growth as far as us, another big avenue is law enforcement and EMS. So that's something that we're trying to get into after helping out Scott over at the LA Sheriff's, our county sheriff's department, doing unit shirts for him. We've had a lot of other law enforcement entities reach out, so we're going to try to start catering to that community and learning and understanding that community as well. So there's a couple avenues that we're looking at, but mainly we're just going to try to keep doing what we're good at as far as the custom apparel, because that sells itself. I mean, customer service is probably one of our top qualities. As well as fulfillment and our shipping and our product. So we don't really have to do any advertising. Most people, it's all word of mouth, and we're going to continue to deliver and capitalize on that, bringing on more designers. All of our designers are from the community too, all either currently serving or were in the aviation community, and we also get a lot of inquiries from all different types of units, whether it's CAV or infantry units, things like that. So we're just trying to, as far as the scaling goes, continue to refine what we're doing, as well as, when people reach out from these different communities, really focus and try to do our best with it so we can kind of grow that word of mouth with this specific unit and specialty there.
What I love, what you just said, was something that I think a lot of people miss, was meeting people where they're at. Especially being a platoon leader and, continue to do what you do, you have to constantly seek to meet people where they're at to better understand them, and then figure out how then you can move the direction forward. Would you say that understanding has helped greatly improve your life, or is there another belief that you go back to and you're like, this is actually where I felt like I took it to the next level, you personally?
Yeah, absolutely. My time in all different positions, whether it was on staff, platoon leader time, XO time, the biggest thing that I learned was the importance of people. the people in your organization, the connections you make, the potential people you talk to, that makes everything. One of my good mentors from my last job, she said, people first, people second, people always. So that's kind of a mantra that I've lived by when it comes to, our organization, and what I'm doing now in the Guard, fostering relationships. We wouldn't, as far as Brotallion, we wouldn't be where we're at without the kind of networking that we did when we were still, Spencer and I were both transitioning off active duty, and we were making money, but not really, probably spending more than we were making. And a couple of the connections that we made from a friend of a friend of a friend, and entertaining those and being professional and doing everything we can to make it work is why we're here now. So, and then also for me, personally, when it comes to people, I had some rough times there in transition. There's about 3 months where I was kind of flapping in the wind. With Brotallion, I started another company around here locally doing junk removal and snow removal. I applied to a bunch of different companies around here. It was getting close to when I was going to start with the Guard. I had about a 3-month break until I started flying with the Guard in the unit here. And, I applied to, I applied to Costco, like to push carts in just to make some, they didn't even call me back. Like, I was like, what's going on? I was living, we're living in my mother and father-in-law's basement. I got 2 kids, 1 on the way. My wife can't find a job. So there were some tough times. And the people really helped me through it. My wife, my dad, talking to him, what he wanted was me to just, follow my passion, which was fine. So what I ended up doing after getting turned down from Red Bull and a couple other companies, out there, after doing all the spam emails you get when you're getting out, well, none of that shit worked out for me. So, I kind of stuck with Brotallion, put a lot of time into that, and then, put all my time into flying at the Guard here, and at the end of the summer applied for a full-time position and got locked in. So I was super, happy for that. I wasn't, the biggest thing that got me through that was not just blind faith, but the connections and the people that I met, trying to make a decent name for myself over there. I think some people helped me out and vouched for me. And I wouldn't be where I am today without putting people around me, as far as like the relationships that you gain first. So, what I tell people always is, if you have a chance to talk to someone or introduce to someone, always follow up, always do your due diligence to meet someone, because, you might need that person might need you, and, fate's a real thing. So stick to what you love, and that story, it was a tough time for all of us. It was a lot of tough nights and days, but stick to your passion, stick to what you love, and foster those relationships, because they'll take you to the limit to where you want to go.
And even in your times of like anxiety, stress, and you have that like mounting pressure on you through all of that, you stayed focused enough, right, to continue with your work with Brotallion, continue to align your life where it made sense. Like you said, it's through sacrifice. So as we kind of wrap up here, I have one last question for you, my man.
Sure.
How are you better today than yesterday?
That's a tough question. So many days were filled with things we did wrong or things we hope we wish we did. Whether it's, I kind of mentioned the work-life balance, maybe you didn't hear something, or, you and your spouse disagreed on something. So there's a lot that clutters the day, but I think, I don't know where it's from, but it may have been from someone saying it in a brief we sat in at school back in the day. But, at the end of the day, at the start of the day, write down 3 things you're you're thankful for. And I'm not here saying I do that, but I think that's something good to take forward. And for me, it's kind of the small victory. So I don't, as far as what I'm better at, okay. I know what I need to be better at.
What are the three things you're grateful for today, right now?
The three things? So number one is a healthy family. You see a lot of families out there that are struggling, health issues. So a healthy family, a job that I love. I see a lot of guys come off active duty and they want to make all this money, and that's great. I mean, but you got to be happy and you got to be passionate about what you're doing, or else you're going to feel empty inside. So, with my guard job and this, I'm not rolling in dough, but I love it. I love going to work. I have an hour drive to work, and I don't mind it at all. Like I love my way to work. I love everyone there. It's a great time, and I look at Monday. I used to look at Monday with like anxiety and the Monday blues, or the Sunday scary as they call it. But now it's like, I don't know. So find that in life. You find it, that's gold. So that's number two.
Number two. Last one.
Not the math guy here. And number three would be, just a support system. From my parents to my wife to everyone out there that's liked a post or bought one of our products or sent us an email or thanked us. It means the world to us. This is Spencer and I's passion in life. It's the legacy we're leaving for our family. Both organizations is something that we never plan on moving from, only growing. And just thankful for the support and those, like we said, we talked about the relationships that I've made and all the people around me here to help us out, because I wouldn't be here today doing what I love without, all the networking and people that have stuck their neck out for me. So.
And speaking of networking, where can people go to network with you, Brett?
Oh, easy. You can send me an email, brett@brotallion.com, if you want to talk direct, or, on any of our channels, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, all of them, you're talking to me. So you send me a DM, anything, I never turn it down. If you're asking for, some people reach out for those warrant officer recommendations, things like that. I'm always happy to help. Know a lot of people. That's what's been great about Brotallion is I know people in every state. I know people at most Army aviation units just through, my pen pal network, our pen pal network here. So yeah, reach out. Nothing goes unanswered. We're here to help everyone and make things easier for everyone.
Awesome. We will make sure we link those into the show notes, as well as, the Pilots Lounge and the Blue Skies Foundation. Brett, thank you so much for your time, sharing your methods, your strategies, your ideas, and most importantly, thanks for having our sixth brother.
Appreciate it, Tony. It's been awesome, really. We'll have to have you on the Pilots Lounge, man.
I'd be honored. I would be honored.
We'll get that queued up.
Thank you, brother.
I don't know what you've been told, Sixers, but the lawyers would like us to remind you that the views, opinions, and comments expressed on the Got Your Six podcast are solely those of the hosts or guests, to include current and previous Department of Defense employees, and should in no way be considered the opinions of or endorsements on behalf of the Department of Defense or any of its components, divisions, contractors, or other current and previous staff members.